Doodlebud here. You know, me and my Pelikan pens, well, there's space for one and it's over here. I was going to record another video right now. I cannot wait any longer because I haven't even used this. You can't get this one anymore, so let's show you what I got. What we have here is from 2005. It's a new old stock. It's discontinued model. This is a Pelikan P361 Epoch. And it's in the zircon silver. So new old stock, just got this in. And I've only had a look at it. I have not inked it, which has taken a serious amount of restraint. It has a gold nib, and that gold nib is an oblique broad. So like it has taken a lot out of me to not ink this up and to wait to do the video. I was going to do it tomorrow or the next day, but I cannot wait any longer. So let's crack this open. Show you what this is. I'll leave a link down in the description to the Pelikan's Perch, which talks all about this model. There are multiple models. It ran from 2004 to 2007, I believe. Again, double check everything on there. I could very easily misspeak on this, but it started with the P360. That was in 2004. This came out in 2005, and this is the P361. And so just a very short-lived model, 3 years. There was a total of 5 models, 8 finishes. And this one, to me, is the one that looked the nicest of all of them. We have an aluminum body, and it's got these lovely concentric rings all the way around it. And this has it's an anodized aluminum finish on here, probably like a silver anodized. Then you can see the cap and the end. Those are aluminum as well, more of a brushed aluminum. And then that is hit with a matte palladium plating on there. So I think it just looks really, really nice. And then onto the nib, it's 14 karat gold. It has rhodium coating on it. There's a look at the logo on the nib. We have the OB on the side. It's uninked. I looked at it really quick. I'm probably gonna have to pull it out and give it a quick little adjustment. Looks a little too tight. So we'll check that out in a moment. And snap cap, as you can see, if you want to see the tag, I'll pop that off, but there we go. Whoop, don't roll away into the floor. Okay, so let's pop that off. We got the finial on the top of the pen. Just a single chick, if we can get some kind of focus. There we go. Single chick on there. Nice clip. I've been playing with this. It has a nice little springiness to it. Really simple design, but feels really, really good. That's going to go over a shirt pocket properly. Then you got the cap band, Pelikan, and Germany on the back. How it fills up is quite interesting. I don't know, maybe this pen just wasn't very popular. I think it looks super cool. Like this is really for me, but because I like it doesn't mean a lot of other people would. So usually if you have a product that a lot of people want to buy, you keep making it. So that could be the trick. Cartridge only. It comes with a cartridge, which is cool. They put it in, you know, upside down so it doesn't puncture. It's got the Adelstein ink on there, some type of a blue. So you're going to pop it in like so, and then put it in, screw it down. It's going to puncture the cartridge perfectly. So it's just really, really nice, well thought out. But I guess that could be something people aren't into as much. You could probably put, I think you can fit a converter in here, but you can't bottle fill through the pen. So what you'd have to do is fill the converter ahead of time and then put it in there. You can take one of the long cartridges or stack 2 of them back to back and just have a spare one in there as well if you want to. It's kind of neat down here in the bottom. This is going to be tricky with lighting. Oh, I managed to get it. There's a little spring down there. So that's going to push down on the cartridge to make sure it keeps it engaged and fully seated into the feed. Again, I haven't inked it. I've just been playing with it. It shouldn't break, but it is a little bit on the flimsy side. But as long as you're gentle with the pen, you just don't go crazy with it, that should be just fine. Let's pop out the Nib Feed and show you that here, because I think I need to do an adjustment. So we're just gonna give it one of those, pop it out. I popped it out earlier. It was a little bit more effort to pop it out earlier, but wasn't too hard. So here, let's get you close. A little better close up of the feed. Again, I don't have any Pelikan pens like this whatsoever. I just really enjoy them. So some folks might recognize this feed, which is in a different Pelikan pen. If you do, leave a comment down below. And there's a little nipple on the end that will puncture. And I believe it's just ABS. It doesn't look like ebonite to me whatsoever. I'm very like 99% sure that's ABS. And here we got the nib. This thing feels very rigid and strong. Just the shape of it, that's going to be a very stiff nib. So I'm not expecting any line variation to come out of this. But yeah, oblique broad on there. So I am excited to see how that writes. Here's a close-up of the tipping. Thought I would share just a little more details on there. I'm curious what type of profile it has. So it's got the oblique. It doesn't seem to be very crisp, just a slight angle on the top. I'm not expecting a ton of line variation, but it should be fairly smooth. So I'm interested to see how this writes. And as you can see, the tying gap, I think that's too tight. We got a little daylight at the bottom. I'll just take a brass shim, run it through real quick. Maybe there's just some crud in there, but I have a feeling we're just going to need to open that a little teeny bit. There might be a slight misalignment. I'll give it a closer look under the loop. To adjust the nib, I'm going to use one of these little nib adjustment blocks that's in the R&D type of stage. I think I have some profiles I'm happy with. I've updated it to accommodate larger nibs. And then this is like number 6 and number 5 nibs. So I'm trying to see if I can get one block to do number 8 all the way down to number 5 nibs. So I'm going to play with that, or perhaps I'll double them up like that. So you can do both sides, have 2 different profiles in one block. I'll quickly show you what it is, but the folks there and the members, I'm just trying to finish this off. So then what I can do is send them out in a batch to some of them to test and be, I guess, my beta tester, so to speak. I'm going to be sending one to Josh Lax really soon to get his opinion. And I'm just trying to get you to focus. Okay, so essentially how it works is you go along this profile and you find a spot where it's just kind of fitting it, and you just press down a little bit just to open up those tines. We're not going too far. You can't go too far because this conical shape is going to stop you from going any further. So we're just going to do that a little bit and see if that opens it up just a touch. Now I'm playing with this one to see which is the better profile for this nib. This is actually a good test because I've never had a nib with this type of profile. So I think maybe the shorter one here might feel a little bit better. Open it more. It opens it more. Now what it does is it does open it up a little bit extra at the bottom. So sometimes there's a little bit of back and forth, but we'll hold it for a few seconds, see how it goes, and then I just go a little back and forth. Now, what can happen is if, let me zoom out here, but if the ball opens up at the bottom like this, that's called canyoning. So the page is here, the nib slit should be parallel, but sometimes it can do this a little bit. This profile on the other side is to help get rid of that. So you put the nib in here, find the right spot, and then you just press down a little bit. Just gentle pressure. Again, you can't go too far, just a little press down, and that's going to drive them back into alignment. So it's a little bit of back and forth. I can adjust the nib quicker by hand myself, but I've just done it so many times. But I was thinking for a new person, this stops you from overdoing it. And it stops you before you do something really bad. So then you can just double check it. I'll go back onto the loop, and if I need to give it a little alignment, you can go hang the tines over the edge here. If I need to pull one down or push one up, I'll probably just push down. I can do this here. I can push down on this tine a little bit just to play with the alignment. So just something just to stop you essentially from going too far and helping guide you when it comes to nib alignment. So this is in the development stage on the channel memberships. If you're interested in that, you can learn a little more about it. I'm going to check now on the loop, make sure it's all aligned and the gap is opened up just a little bit that we need. We'll put it back together, and then we'll ink it, see how this thing writes. So the nib looks nice now. I'll put this back in. I was having a look at the section, and it does have a little key to it that lines up here with the feed. You can see on the feed there's a slit here on the bottom. So you do have to put, I've almost found that if you put the feed in first, you find that spot there, it'll click. You just put it in and you'll just feel it click in there. Then I'll slide the nib in over top. And there you go. That's like the safe way to put this nib and feed back into the pen. Obviously now is the time. We're going to ink this pen up. Come back here. I find with cartridges, if you're inking it for the first time, something I like to do is actually just wet it. I'm going to go over to the sink really quick, just blast some water down there and over here as well. Give it a quick little shake, and then I'll put that on. And I find that just helps coax the ink out. so it comes out quicker. I don't feel like waiting 10 minutes. The bulb syringe actually did a perfect job. Just fill that up, pop it down there, and blast away. This is the giant one, so this holds a lot of water. I forget how many milliliters. I got it off Aliexpress, and so the bigger bulb cleans out the pen even quicker. I'll leave a link in the description. The threads on this part are just very nice. They even have a lovely little sound. I can feel the tension now. Yep, and all of a sudden, boom, it punctured it. Just really, that's a really nice design. That's the way to put a cartridge in. You know, I read that this pen takes a while to transfer the ink from the cartridge all the way down to the nib. And I agree with that. I can confirm that. Even after priming the feed, it still took a long time, and then the ink was quite washed out. My phone actually, battery was kind of dying, so I put the phone down, charged it for the night, went to bed. This is a few days later, and I've written with the pen a bunch. What I'm going to do is just talk about what I found with the pen. I'll do a size comparison, got some other pens here, and for those who want to see the pen in action writing, I'll just put that right at the end of the video and just do like some music with some fancy writing and all that good stuff. So let me show you what it looks like and tell you my findings. When I showed the close-up of the nib, I said I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of line variation just due to the nature of the grind, and that is correct. It is extremely smooth. It's really, really nice. You can see here on the crosshatch, the downstroke is a little bit thicker than the cross stroke, but not a whole lot. So there are some grinds that are done where an oblique is really, they just cut a little bit of a flat, and it's almost at an angle underneath. Oh, terrible focus, but underneath they sort of pass at a little bit of an angle, and they just cut a slight one on there, and that's it. They don't really reshape the tipping. Some obliques, it's essentially like a stub or a cursive italic, so it's kind of blocky, and then the angle's cut. This one is just a slight little adjustment. I do enjoy it though. And after using obliques more and more, I realize I actually kind of like to rotate the nib back. So it's just raked back at an angle. And if you can see how I'm holding it here, let me get you a better close up. So the nib is pointing up this way versus it being, you know, more straight up and down. So anyways, I do enjoy how the nib writes. It's very smooth. The wetness is great. Lovely writing experience. Just not going to be your #1 line variation pen. But there's a close-up of it there. It's a really nice broad line on it. Lovely writer, super comfortable. Everything's great about it. Some pros and cons with the pen after using it now for a couple days. Snap cap, it's nice. It's nothing super crazy. There are other snap caps that just have a real gorgeous slip engagement, but this one's just fine. There's a cap liner in there, and you'll have a little profile here. It actually snaps onto the ring here, the little flare here, that snaps on the cap liner, and this butts up against the end inside to help with the seal. So smart little design there. It's been working great. It hasn't been hard starting. I will do like a longer nib dry out test with the cap just to see how that performs. But yeah, styling and everything else is just really enjoy it. Super comfortable. Yeah, it's interesting having a body shape like this. You have these concentric rings to help with grip. So if you like being up close, it has that flare out and a little bit of a narrowing right there. If you want to hold further back, like you got something for everybody, then you post it, pop it on there. It's nice. It doesn't backweight the pen. Everything's light, so no matter what you do, it's well balanced. Gold nib, can't go wrong with that. There are versions that have steel nibs. I'll have to say though, it is a bit boring. If that, you know, just, yeah, they have prettier looking nibs, but nothing wrong with it. It writes lovely and just cool looking pens. Some of the cons, it doesn't really bother me. I have other pens that are cartridge only. And I will find out if I can put a converter in here. Yeah, and you just have to fill the converter beforehand, as I mentioned. But that could be a holdback on it. Not much line variation on the oblique. You know, that could be, I guess, a negative on this particular grind. I could really see myself enjoying this in a fine point nib, a medium, really any point size. It's a cool pen. This is the big negative, no longer in production. You know, I wonder why this pen only lasted a few short years. I'm not too sure. If someone else watching knows a little more why this pen just didn't click, let us know, because I think it's a cool pen. I didn't show this feature. It's tough to get the camera. There we go. but it's got this subtle little line here into the clip and we just lost it. Oh my gosh. Let's get you the weight, then we'll do a size comparison. So we got 27.4. Let's just say that it's 27.5, 8.5 or so in the cap, and then just the pen, that's the remainder, 19 in the pen. The pens I'm comparing it with, this is a Lamy Ion, then we have a Faber-Castell Hexo, here's the Pelikan P361 Jinhao 82, and then a Faber-Castell Emotion. Here we are, caps off, and now the caps are posted. Keeping with Pelikan, we have an M400 and then an M800. I don't own an M600 pen, but I would say it's probably very similar to this Epoch. As you can see, it's just right in between the 400 and 800. The 800 is just a little bit longer, so it's probably, if you have a Pelikan 600 series, somewhere in that range. However, when you post it, it's pretty much the same length as the M400, but just has a little more thickness to it. And for reference, we have a Lamy Safari and a TWSBI Eco. What I'm going to do now is just finish things off with the writing sample, but I think I've gone over everything I could possibly go over with the pen. So this was a neat find. I've been looking at one of these for quite some time. I had it in the cart, then took it out of the cart, and then decided to put it back in. I bought this one on eBay. I will put a link to the seller I bought this from. He had a few of them. I did give a sneak peek of this pen in one of the members' videos, just kind of showing what I had behind the scenes. I don't know if there's any left, but we'll see. Take a look to see what's available if this is something that you're interested in. Yeah, I'll leave some information for you down below. Anyways, I appreciate you watching this. As always, questions and comments down below. Hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe. There's a join button if you're interested. Enjoy the writing samples, and we'll catch you next time.